Okay, here's the Berghman Skate Sharpener. Paid 50 cents for this probably 25 years ago. It's made in Maywood, Illinois. Got this at the TRW swap meet in El Segundo, California. These things are probably at least been made for probably 40-50 years at least. And the Berghman Skate Sharpener basically has a cylinder here that's about 1 inch in diameter, roughly about 4 inches long. And you put this on top of the skate, and what you do is you revolve this every few cuts just to make sure it stays fairly round when you wear it. You put this thing on here like this. The skate, from the end view of a skate here, this is curved out. So this edge is higher than this edge. And in a hockey skate, this is kind of wimpy. This is 1 inch. So it's a 1/2 inch radius on here. Sometimes people want to use about 3/8 inch. But this suits my needs here pretty well. Now from the side view here on a hockey skate, like on here, the longer this flat zone is, the faster you can skate. If this is more curved from side to side this way, you can probably spin and do a lot more maneuvering. Where the center point of this is can be different whether you're a forward or a defenseman. So if you have somebody use a normal skate sharpener, they have a wheel that's cutting it this way on the skate, on here. And then they hold the skate back and forth and they go at it, but they don't necessarily always on this profile here. They just kind of wing that and do that by hand. So you can have a guy cut too much off the back here, and then what happens is you're going to end up feel like you're falling backwards or something like that. So you got to be careful. So I end up, it's kind of like a haircut. I end up sharpening my own skates. I've done it for a long time. Anyways, I've got a nick over here that I've been trying to get out. And this Birdman skate goes on the end here like this. And you go back and forth, back and forth. You rotate the wheel a little bit. Go back and forth. Now the failure on this is you've got to try to keep this to be where it's perpendicular. So I usually hold this between my knees, go back and forth like this, and then rotate this guy a little bit here, the wheel. Once the wheel gets clogged up, you can wash it off in water, gasoline, whatever, let it dry to get the steel out of it. And I've been doing this for the last 5 minutes to get, there's an area here where I let somebody use these and they kind of walked for a second on concrete and totally bitched this up here. So there's an area here that's really dangerous. You can end up falling, and you may think this is kind of this type of sharpener is highly dependent on your success that you get out by understanding how it's used. And if you use this a lot, like I do, for a couple decades, it's real easy to kind of get good at it. Other people are probably going to end up ruining their blades. You probably should have it done elsewhere. Right over here I've got an area that's, I've finally gotten the area to be cleaned up on it. Once you've done this, you've got an edge that's slightly rolled over, and I take a flat side of a stone and I just put this on here and just slightly go over like this and kiss off that edge. You gotta make sure you don't go through and go over and ruin the edge. Your first skate on here, there's going to be probably a little bit of a drag because there's a little bit of a burrs on there. They'll come off pretty quick. These are CCM's 952 hockey skates. Anyways, on a regular skate sharpener, there's a wheel that's turning this way, and they dress it so that at least the stone is such that they're cutting off. They adjust the radius in the stone if they know what they're doing to cut this, and then they go off side to side and they get this profile. Now, if a guy knows what he's doing, he usually goes and does a whole bunch of skates with the same radius this way. If you take it to an unknown guy, he may have his wheel set up for a 1/2 inch radius, and you had a 3/8 inch radius, and he's going to grind that off. So it's kind of a goofy thing that you may want to find out who's doing your skates and how they're doing them. I end up doing these all by myself because I've done it for so long. And this type of blade on this skate, you can actually remove it. I've actually got a set of skates like this off of eBay that I bought brand new, a 1052, and whoever sharpened it from here back grind it so far down from the side view that when you stand on it you want to fly over. So it's ground so far down the skates are useless. I'm going to have to replace the blade on that pair. But these blades have been on here for about 10 years. They still got a decent amount of life on them, and there's still a little bit of burr here on this you can knock off. Those are CCM 952s. Here's a sister skate. This has been used to play hockey with, so that's why it's more bitched up. You can see here there's a lot of areas here it's taken a hit with pucks and everything like on here. And I've got two pairs of these. This is the one that's been used to play hockey on. This is one that's just for non-hockey. And if you can believe it, the sister pair of this skate went outside of the house during Katrina, so it's lost. So I'm skating on a mixed pair, which is totally bizarre. This is a set I got off eBay, and it went underwater in Katrina too, and so you can see that there's rust and pockets here from salt water on there, through on here, but they still sharpen up pretty well on there. This has got a pretty bad dull area through here, which is kind of dangerous. I'm going to try to work off. You can kind of hold it to the light and you can kind of see where there's an edge. If I glisten this back and forth through here, I can see that I've got an area right through here that's bad. When I was on these the other day, I noticed that there's an area here that's kind of dangerous, doesn't want to grab. So again, I hold the skate like this. Take the old Birdman, put it on here like this, and go back and forth. I'm going to attempt to make my own ice skating sharpener for skates like this. I've always wanted to. So what this is doing is cutting it this way. Now when I'm doing this, I've kind of got not that much control of how much do I push down harder in the center or toward the edges. That's what the unknown is, because depending on your weight, your height, and how you're going to play or whatever, there's a real bad area right there. It's got some corrosion. You go back and forth. You can actually see you can feel this with your hand. It's getting a little bit, knocking off a little bit of that, getting a little bit sharper on there. I rotate the wheel, go back and forth. Rotate the wheel. Again, this is the Berghman Skate Sharpener. You can get these on eBay. I had one here and I dropped it somehow and it got busted. I bought another one. They're almost like a novelty, and it's kind of funny. These things A lot of people think they're kind of a joke, and they can be if you don't know what you're using on them, but it's funny, I ended up starting using one of these when I got away from had a couple really bad sharpening that were just horrid and that just screwed up skates so bad. I had one I actually bought brand new blades because they got so ruined. I ended up just sharpening myself because I got more control in the sense. Through here I've got an area that's kind of marginal. Most of the time on skates they only talk about the curvature this way and the side to side on here, how this is, how flat this is and over is something that you may or may not on a machine where they bring it back and forth. This profile, if they cut it down too far back here, you'll feel like you're falling backwards. Where the point is, it's straightest over here. If it's toward the back or front, can depending on what you're trying to use the skate for. So there isn't any optimum thing. It all depends what position you're playing. But it's just for fun. This may look kind of hokey, which it can be, but the failure mode here is if you rock the skate back and forth, the sharpener, what you're going to do is you're going to get a wider radius. So this on here, if it's a 1-inch stone, you're probably getting closer to a 1 1/8 or 1 1/4. If you keep it fairly consistent to this, you'll get a pretty close to a 1-inch. You can feel it kind of drag. Spin the wheel again. It's made strange. What I end up doing is I end up sharpening a little bit and I go off ice skating and come back again and kind of take a mental note what areas have got to be improved. It's not just necessarily by the feel, it's by the whether you bust your butt. Right through here it's still kind of, it's got an area there, it's not as sharp as it should be. Right through here. Now how sharp it's got to be depends on the type of ice. In the deep south down here the rinks are more slushier, so it doesn't make as much difference. When I was in California or Missouri and Michigan, Vienna, the rinks ran a lot colder, and when they do that, it seems like it'd be a lot more critical for the how it's sharpened. When it's warmer, you don't need to have a very sharp skate. It just tends to plow through because you're going through closer to freezing. When I sharpen this, I can feel this edge through here. You can kind of move this back and forth in the light. Run my fingernail. Right through here I got a marginal area I can see. Now if you go on the tail end of the skate here and you dwell on this and you knock this down too much, then you kind of screw up to where you feel like you're falling backwards some. You have to be forward more like an ape, keep good balance, which is okay for hockey, but if you just want to tool around in a public skating session, you gotta be careful you don't end up falling backwards. Again, rotating the wheel on here just prevents it from wearing one way. One thing you really don't see is that you don't see somebody giving the shape of this profile mathematically with respect to the bottom. They all talk about it, use a bunch of adjectives and things, but they don't necessarily go through and give any kind of like equations or just any guidelines. It's kind of just all BS in a sense. And it's almost like getting your hair done, where everybody's got a different way of doing it. And one guy might be the greatest guy for sharpening for skates and not another one. The best guys I've seen sharpen it go through and take down your weight, your height, what position you play, and then they end up figuring what radius of curvature they want from the side view here. And then they go through, set their wheel up, they dress their wheel, and then they do all those skates for like a 1/2 inch, and they'll do another one set of skates for 3/8 inch. Now, what a skate guy doesn't want to do, he doesn't want to dress his wheel for every different customer, because he ends up wearing his wheel out. So what they'll end up doing is, if you want a 3/8 inch cut from the side here, and then you go through and he's got it set up for a 1/2 inch, he may not want to dress his wheel down, so he'll end up changing it to be different. So it's kind of goofy in the sense that he'll probably end up doing what he wants to do, and then your skates may not be as sharp as you want to. When I was in California, there was a guy named Art Guiney's skate shop in the San Fernando Valley, and that guy, if he sharpened your skates, they would be so bloody sharp you'd almost not want to skate on them, because he had them such an aggressive thing. He had them to where they were almost of a 1/4 of an inch radius on here, and he had just the most aggressive cut on there, the hollow on there, that was just incredible. And when I had him sharpen them eons ago, that it's almost like I didn't want to skate on the skates for a long time. It's kind of a traumatic thing, so this probably looks incredibly hokey, but it seems to work. I've been using this same sharpener like this. I got one of these 25 years ago, and I'm on my 2nd or 3rd one, because I busted one or lost one. I think I gave one away. They're usually a few bucks on eBay. But if you rocker this back and forth, you're going to end up having the thing flat. If you don't turn it, it's going to be flat. So you've got to keep this square, go back and forth. It's probably set up more for figure skates. If you're a place that's got a good sharpener, you probably should just use that, not use a homemade makeshift stone. But like anything else, sharpening is kind of an art. This skate here is really got some corrosion. It's got a lot of hockey pucks and stuff have hit it. It's got some divots here where the corrosion's come through right here. Now, since I've been doing this edge right through here, it's got a lot more, the dull area. If I move this back and forth and look at it, it's gone. Now I've only got an area right here in this portion that I'm going to try to do. Once I've done all this, I won't be totally happy, but it'll be a lot better than it was. Again, I'm going to take the stone here, knock off that edge. I'm holding the stone just with this. I'm not turning it at any angle. Probably should be moving the stone this way. It's the proper way to do it. You take the stone and go backwards on the skate. So if you have any burr, you're knocking it backwards. It's probably the better way to do it. Anyways, these are CCM 1152s. That's one that's got 2 pair of these things. One of them was one skate's lost. This is the dirt pair, the street pair, if that makes any sense, that's been used play hockey with. So it's really seen some abuse. This is actually the set that I've generally tended not to play hockey with, and looks a lot better. But that's the pair I currently skate on. These are Pro Light 3s. You can replace these, take the rivets off and move them. These blades you can actually take off with, through here you can unbolt these. And they'll bolt in there. What's really, if you got if it's dull in a little area, it's probably not going to make that much big difference. If you got a area that's over a decent angle here, we're only touching the ice one place that's dull, you can end up losing traction and bust your ass. So a dull area over where it's a flat here, you've got a lot of other areas that's going to protect you, sort of keep you going. But where you've got a lot of curvature through here, you just got to make sure you don't have one giant area that's in the contact area where you lose it. Now I can see right here I've got a burr I got to knock off. Once you start to skate on these, you're going to feel a little bit slow at first because you're going to try to knock off that. This is the left skate. I had an area right here that was really bad, which is scary because once you start to grind all this down through here to get the contact area off, then you've got an area where when you're skating like this, you can tend to be, the line of force when you're standing here can be to where you're going to tend to feel backwards, bust your butt type of thing. Anyways, those are CCM 1152s from about 8 years ago. At least they came out about 11 years ago, this particular 1152, maybe older than that, and that's the Berghman Skate Sharpener here, made in Maywood, Illinois. I wouldn't doubt if this box here is from, doesn't even have a zip code on here, so this might even be pre-1966 or something like that, or 62. I got this at the TRW swap meet for 50 cents. El Segundo probably about 1990. And it's got a blade in here, stone. You can get the stone out of there like this. It's about 1 inch in diameter, 4 inches long. You can see it's got a bunch of rust and build up on here. What it tells you to do on here is rotate. It says here you should go through and wash this off with gasoline or soap and water, scrub with a stiff brush. I usually put this in soap and water and just take an old toothbrush that's being thrown out and you scrub it to get the metal out of it. Once you've done that, you get a lot of open up the more pores, it'll cut better. If you drop this whole thing, you're going to bust the stone, but it's a pretty simple device. Cheap, low in cost. When this is on the blade, again, I've mentioned 20 times that if you rock this thing back and forth, the radius of curvature you cut is going to be larger. Anyways, that's it. That's the Berghman Skate Sharpener from Maywood, Illinois. 50 cents I paid. I think on eBay I bought some for $3 or $4 or $5. I'm not selling any on eBay, but I just wanted to mention. The whole thing about skate sharpening to me is really odd because everybody's got an opinion about it and they're adamant that they know what the hell they're doing. And I've been really frustrated in the sense that I've skated forever and I've had a couple people just absolutely ruin a pair of skates that I could skate beautifully on. And there's a lot of people that think they know what they're doing, but they don't. You got to be really careful. The longer this area, of course, the faster you can go, like I've mentioned. If you rocker this back this way, and you have it so the contact area is very little through here that's flat along here, you can maneuver, spin around, and do what the hell you want to really, really well. But as far as going and gliding and things like that, you're going to be slower. So the longer this is, the faster you can probably go. Got less drag because ice is melting and it's going due to the pressure and the water. You're running actually on a water film through here. So like a pair of speed skates, this is actually, from this edge view, this is actually a right angle. It's actually like exaggerated. If I look at this thing of Microsoft Home, a skate that's like this and a speed skate is actually flat here. And then on a pair of, if I exaggerate this, the curvature through this way on the end view on a pair of figure skates may be a radius of, say, 1.5 inch, where the pivot's over here where the radius is. And then you have a deeper radius here, like this. Might be only 1 inch on hockey, to 1/2 inch, exaggerated to 3/8 inch. So you have to where the edge of this thing has got a much deeper edge on here. Gives you, grabs a lot better for like on a 3/8 inch. And from the side view here like this, on a pair of speed skates, this is long and flat. On a pair of hockey skates, this is rockered this way. That makes it more maneuverable. And if you're going to be a forward, it might be one way, it might be another way. If you're a defenseman, it might be toward the other way. I've forgotten which way it is, but anyways, depending on what position you're going to take, whether you're going to go forward or be operating toward the back. As you get skates that are brand new, this area is very, from here to here is usually straight. And as they get sharpened, you tend to get to where the area that's straight across here, if you put a straight edge, it gets to be less and less because a lot of times they end up sharpening these things by hand through here. And that's the way it goes.